Welcome, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that first panel discussion. I learned lots there, lots of inspiration about kind of slightly different things that we can be thinking about when we're selling Spain holidays. Now into our second panel discussion of the afternoon. This one is called Picking the Perfect Break. So we're going to be drilling down even more now into selling tips, different suggestions, client matching, that kind of thing. And we have two expert travel agents with us for this session, so we can really pick their brains, make the most of their expertise. If you've got any questions at all about Spain, please do type them into the chat box, because they are bound to have some suggestions to make. Ben Rosser-Jacks from Travel Counsellors. We've
Hello
been trying to
there.
work out whether we might be distantly related. It's possible. Ben, can you tell us a little bit about your personal kind of relationship with experience in selling Spain?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm half Spanish, so I've immediately got that kind of passion for Spain. I love the culture. I love everything. I actually live there in the province of Granada. I'm actually in the UK at the moment. I want to go back to some sunshine, but yeah, there's so many hidden gems in Spain that people are just not aware of. Inland, especially the Basque Country, just to name a few. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that sort of information.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. And Paul, you are Manager of
Hello.
Sales at Hayes Travel. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with and connection to Spain?
Not quite as good as Ben as I'm living in Spain, but my parents have now retired to Spain, so do spend maybe 3, 4 holidays times a year going over to Spain, which is great. But proper Spain, not just the tourist, the mainstream, the beach kind of place, really digging deep into. Then mentioned the Basque Country, and all the way up to sort of Vigo and various different areas. Yeah, been selling Spain ever since I started in travel 30 years ago. So yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, sounds like we're going to be exploring some lesser known destinations then in this conversation, which is brilliant. So can you both share a little bit about, obviously you know Spain really well, Ben, and you're suggesting different things to
Mhm.
customers. Is sun and sand and sea still a big seller for you? What other kinds of holiday styles, styles do you sell for Spain?
I would definitely say, obviously, people think Spain, summer holidays, the sand, Benidorm, that type of thing. But, as I mentioned previously, you do have like the Basque Country, which is really green and really luscious. If you want to go for walks, horse riding, especially the deserts there, absolutely amazing is what they're famous for. You've got Cantabria, which is right in the middle, and it's inland Spain. Yes, you don't have the beaches, but you've got the lakes, you've got the mountains, you've got all of that. And then, even if you go down to the province that I live in, Granada, you have everything there. You've got your beaches, you do have that, and snorkeling and things like that, but you've got Neja caves, you've got everything from the history, from the Alhambra to everything. There's so much to explore. And, equally in the last session to what Pedro was saying, you can literally have Sevilla as a base and travel all around. The road network in Spain is so good. There's never any traffic. You can travel anywhere within two hours. So I definitely would advise people to go out and explore and just go off the beaten track, as it were.
And do you find that customers ask you for those things, or are they
Yep.
maybe asking for coast and you're suggesting alternatives?
Yes, definitely. So the big thing that I kind of will do, if I know, for example, they want a beach holiday, I'm like, great. Would you like me to get some attractions booked for you, just so you can experience the real Spain? Because let's face it, if you go to Costa del Sol, it's the Costa del Sol. It's not the real Spain. It's not where you're going to get that passion, that culture, that kind of immersive experience. So I would always offer to, let me do an attraction for you. And it's so well priced for what it is still. I mean, Spain is still one of these destinations where you can get value for money.
Okay, thank you. And over to you, Paul. What sort of proportion of your Spanish sales would still be that classic sun and sand versus other sorts of styles of travel?
Yeah, a bit like Ben said, the majority, yes, because that's the immediate go-to. But as so many, as say, hidden gems within that, and types of holidays, not just your flop and fly, if you like. So, I mean, I'm a very keen cyclist, and Ben will know very well that Spain's massive on cycling, and the ability to be able to go on some fantastic roads over there. So, one of our sort of best bookings we've done recently has been a big cycle group going out there and immersing that in different areas of Spain, not just your Costa Blanca area. But yeah, so there's lots of different things. Also, it's in land where you've got some fantastic bodegas and things like that, and hiding the car that gets you to places you just can't access, on the coast. But yeah, so it's just an array of different type of customers. But the beach, the flop and fly, absolutely, that's the mainstay.
Yeah, still has many incredible beaches. It's not to talk down the beach experience at all. About trying to get a better balance, I suppose. And how
Yeah.
busy has Spain been for you both this year? Has 2023 sales been decent? Are you getting many advanced sales for 2024? Perhaps you first, Ben.
For myself, 2024, I've had a lot of Spanish inquiries. I think it's slowly becoming on the map. I think Spain was Greece, and now Greece obviously had that very high kind of popularity and things like that. But I think people have forgotten about Spain. However, Spain, it's 2.5 hours on a flight. You can get some really good deals. As sort of Paul said, you can hire a car, you can drive around. It's very easy. And for family holidays, it's fantastic because of the culture. But yeah, definitely 2024, I've seen a massive increase. But then, sort of as you said, Pippa, it is educating people of the different areas of what you can and can't do there. And, actually, do you know what? 2.5 hours, 4.5 hours? What would you prefer? You know?
Yeah, great point. And Paul, how about you? Has Spain been buoyant for 23? Looking ahead to 24?
Yeah, certainly. Certainly, yeah. I mean, I think obviously every country, Greece and Spain's had its issues this year. At different points, we've seen different peaks. I think the Canaries as well is another great destination. We were just talking before, the pricing's been very, very keen recently for Spain, mostly from mainland, but some really, really good deals to find there. But yeah, Spain, it's always a mainstay. Again, as Ben's reiterated there, it's from no matter where you are in the UK, you're only talking maybe a 3 hour flight. I'm in Edinburgh, so even for us, Mallorca, northern Spain, southern Spain, you're only three and a quarter hour flight, which is fantastic. But even for the Canaries, only being 4 hours away to guarantee that sunshine, especially in the winter, is a fantastic selling point. And so such a diverse type of accommodation they're looking for. And again, depending on the type of holiday they're wanting in the Canaries, it's not just the beach part of it. There is a lot more to explore. But yeah, it's certainly very, very strong up there. I think the history between the Brits, if you like, and Spain, I think that'll never go away. That'll always be there.
Thank you, Paul. And just thinking, about any agents who might be joining us who perhaps have always specialised in long haul, so don't really know Spain well, or maybe they're new to travel. What can you tell us about the kinds of operators and partners that you use to book, Ben? In BBC style, other tour operators are available.
Yes.
Please do share a little bit about, who maybe some of your go-to operators are for your sorts of
Well,
customers.
I personally I don't think people realise how large Spain is. You have different cultures, different dialects, different everything. And the one airline that I really use is Binter. So you can do multi-centre things. You can go to the Balearics, you can go to Canaries, you can go to mainland, you can use the ferries, and you can literally travel all around Spain. And I think people only think that with the Greek islands, as I said earlier, go to Mykonos, Santorini, that sort of thing. But you can do that in Spain, and it's a fraction of the price. And they're a very good airline. They provide a lot of stuff. You've got Iberia, Vueling, who are also obviously part of BA. So you've got that kind of thing. So if you've got any points that you need to use, you can use that. The way that I'd say traveling around Spain is very easy. It's very simple. Which, let's face it, when we're on holiday, we don't really want to stress, do we? So.
And so if you were doing a sort of multi-centre trip like that,
Yeah.
Ben, would you be tending to dynamically package that? I know Travel Council
Yeah,
has
I would.
Yes,
I would definitely. I mean, even if it was just, like Paul said earlier, wanted to drive, you bring your car over, you sort of sail into Bilbao, and then you can do that, and you can sort of drive down. It takes 8.5 hours, I think, from Bilbao to sort of the south of Spain, for example. So it's not awful. And then you can get a ferry across, or you can leave the car there. You get Binter Airways. They do all the inter islands. I think even there's a lot of ferry ports around by me. You can go to Morocco and go to the Spanish part with your EU visa and stuff like that. So there's a multitude of things that you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, that idea of sort of almost creating your own island
itinerary.
hopping.
Yeah.
Not quite island hopping, but combining mainland or combining different destinations and perhaps an island sounds really exciting.
Definitely, and I find it very. I do find that kind of option very popular with my clients. They're like, I never thought of that. Let's give it a go. They've always
We did one
enjoyed it.
recently, actually, Ben. Yeah, it was a really good one, actually. The customer came in looking for a little bit of culture, but also a little bit of beach. So we twinned up Barcelona and Palma, and the flight between the two was something like £40. So
Yeah.
gave them two great destinations.
Good value for money. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, we can all go to Jet2, we can all go to EasyJet because it's very easy and that's absolutely right for a certain clientele, definitely. The dynamic packaging is when it gets really exciting because it's like then you go and source where that cheapest flight looks like or good value for money, different destinations, and put the rest together. Certainly somebody I use quite a lot, obviously is our own HTOL system, but it's JetSet. And that's probably one of the forgotten gems because I think you probably tend to think JetSet, Australia, Far East, long haul America. But see, when you dig a lot deeper, they've got so many little hotels or small places to stay in the middle of nowhere you never even thought about. So book on a flight with them, they're fantastic. So they're very, very good. But there are other operators out there, clearly, of course. That's somebody who we go to quite a bit as well, yeah.
Yeah, and the great thing about packaging up some of those smaller, lesser known accommodations is that it'll be a lot harder for a customer to price match it as well, right? If you've got kind of
exactly
access to something that's not so readily available, it puts the agent in a slightly stronger position. Okay, what about the luxury end of the market as well? I mean, Spain, sometimes hasn't always been necessarily the sort of first destination that comes to mind for luxury holidays, but lots of luxury product there. Ben, can you talk us through some of the experiences, maybe even some of the resorts and hotels that you hold at the very high end?
I've got to mention Icos Andalusia. It is ultra luxury. You get a Tesla when you arrive. It's in Marbella. They provide everything for you, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then that's the sort of thing as well. Like even when you visit Estepona, it's such a lovely place, and there's some really high end properties there, like similar to what Paul has said, but they're not on the track. They're a little bit known, so you can't price match. But yeah, definitely. I mean, the fact that Icos have now gone into the south of Spain, I think that's a really good sign. I was lucky enough to visit there, and it is like being in Hollywood. That's the only way that I can really describe it. But definitely there, and especially the south coast of Spain with the sand seas and all that sort of thing. But they're going more inland as well now. Like in Granada, there's a really big hotel chain that's opening up. All family owned, all of that thing. But it is luxury. It's kind of what you want at the Ritz sort of thing. Definitely. Spain is getting there now.
Yeah.
I think with the luxury as well, they always want the extras, don't they? They want a little bit extra. So that's when you can do that value added, that expertise. It's not just the package part. Then you can add on little things here and there. I mean, the Villa del Duque in Tenerife is a fantastic one. And we had
but here,
for a week. It was £18,000 for a week, and you're like, what? You've got your own private chef, etc. So there's a multitude of stunning accommodation. But what comes with that is the maximum opportunity to maximise profit, but also share with the experience to the customer of what we can offer them as an agent.
Well, definitely. I mean, even like Princess Aiza in Lanzarote, it's such a 5-star accommodation, but you can have your luxury on the basic level going right up to, as Paul said, with your personal butler. But everybody's immersed in that kind of experience, and it covers all of the islands. I mean, Gran Canaria, Gran Residencial, again, a 5-star property, fantastic, and it's always a people pleaser,
Great, thank you, Ben. Let's touch upon the family market now, because we have talked a little bit about beach, fly and flop, which might be the first kind of holiday that springs to mind for agents, but for families in Spain. Do you often sort of sell the all-inclusive beach holiday experience? Are there alternatives, maybe a bit more adventurous or different parts of the country?
I think for myself, because the cuisine in Spain is so varied, depending on which region you go to, I always kind of say, like, look, if you're on a budget and it's a family, go half board bed and breakfast, because you will actually be able to go out and get a decent meal with a good price range. If you want all inclusive, fantastic. We can get some fantastic things, and I would say Ibiza believe it or not, you know, people think Ibiza is this party island, but on the other side, it's actually a really family-friendly destination, and a lot of their properties are 4 to 5 star, good prices. You know, they do a range of boards. Um, some of them can be beachfront, some of them can be a bit more inland. But it, for me, I think Ibiza is again another hidden gem in Spain that people think, oh, it's just party, party, party. Well, actually, it's really family-friendly.
Yeah. Well, that's a good tip. Yeah, it can be a little bit forgotten.
Hmm.
Paul, how about you? You know, what sort of different options can you suggest maybe for families as well as perhaps classic kind of beachfront hotel?
Yeah, I mean, there are the caters for accommodations as well. You know, like apartments. There's one down in Guardamar del Segura, which is just south of Alicante, to just north of Torrevieja actually, and it's almost like a campsite, but it's obviously a far better standard of accommodation, but gives you the flexibility to dine around in some great little Spanish towns very close by. There's a great water park near Torrevieja as well, actually, for families. And again, coming away from the Benidorms, coming away from the Salus, obviously Salou is a great theme park up there for all families. But we spent a lot of time down towards the Torrevieja end, so 40 minutes south of Alicante. Some stunning places around about there that families would absolutely love, and plenty of things to do. You know, I was there in August actually, and there was a lot more than I even remembered to offer. So the active thrill seeker, you know, you've got the go karts, you've got all that kind of things very locally. Or if you just again hiring the car, just getting out and just going on trip in small coves, you know, and depending on the children you've got. I mean, certainly I've got 2 teenagers, but when they were younger, you could just go to a beach. It didn't matter, you know, a local beach experience and just being together as a family and spending time together. But again, we all love Spain. Well, certainly Ben and I do definitely because he lives there. And my parents are there, so we're often there. But it offers so many different things, not just like we've talked about before, the flying flop. But yeah, it's offers everything. I love that area, Torrevieja. So if you haven't experienced there before, go south, go away from Benidorm, further south. Some great places down there, down towards La Manga.
And I definitely agree with Paul that there are a lot of campsites in Spain, like loads. And do you know what? It maybe not for everybody, but for a family friendly kind of experience, you can do it. You can hire a car, you can travel around all these campsites. Every town in Spain will have a campsite, and it's just a unique way to experience Spain. You know, we love luxury. Everybody loves luxury, but sometimes it's just lovely to experience what you've got.
Yeah.
So I definitely always recommend that. Like if you have the chance to go camping in Spain in the forest and seeing the ibex and all this, definitely do that.
Yeah, something for every budget.
Yeah,
Do either of you sell much cruise and much cruise sort of around Spain? Is that a product you do
I
much?
started to promote that. I use Royal Caribbean because I've got their new ports from obviously Barcelona, South Spain, sort of things like that, and they're doing their new sort of 7 day Mediterranean cruises. It's been very popular on my social media. So I do that, and then obviously you've got P&O Cruises as well with their fantastic product. They do quite a lot around sort of the Med, but even into the Balearics one, it seems to be quite popular. I think because people get to see those different areas and experience it, and then you've still got the luxury of being on a ship. So
Yeah.
it's been very popular. I've booked 4 this week. So
Oh, wow.
yes,
A great week for Royal Caribbean.
yeah.
How about you, Paul?
I'm with Ben on that one as well. Yeah, Royal Caribbean, you know, from again where I'm based, Edinburgh, they have a direct weekly flight into Barcelona, chartered specifically for a cruise from Barcelona. So that's a great starting point, and you can do the extensions within Barcelona as well and post. There's also some great relocation cruises as well with different tour operators, maybe like P&O, that are, you know, maybe relocating from. There's one next October from Malta, but it comes through Spain, heads towards the Canaries. So you get to see a little bit of both mainland Spain, go through the Med, and then come out at the Canaries. So that's another good one we deal a lot with Pino as well. But the cruising market in general is very buoyant, pardon the pun, but also from a family value for money, Royal Caribbean and what they're offering the family, I think, on board the ship, the facilities are excellent. And as Ben says, they get a great way to see different places every day.
Yeah, fantastic products. A quick question from Karen. She says, can you hire mobile homes and do you need to book in advance to park at the campsite? I think
Yes,
she
you can.
means, yeah, if you were to get a
Yeah.
mobile home, could you park that at a campsite maybe?
Yeah, you can, and then you just
Yeah,
literally would book your space as you would with the caravan.
Okay.
and do it that
And
sort of way.
who would you be booking camping through, Ben?
It would depend. So there's a lot of independent businesses, but then equally, I would try and be having a look at. There's quite a lot that they try to do that they integrate with the UK market. So it'd be going through that and just making sure, obviously, insurance is covered and all of that sort of thing. There's not a particularly, I would say, one company I'd be able to name, BBC. um, but there are options out there to do it. My mother's done it a lot of times, going over to Spain, and it's all fine. The
I
great
think
thing about the
you've got a
Spanish tourism is the red tape. Is everything's done properly, so you're covered everywhere.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. So I'm sure Jet2 have got a section at the top, camping. I'm sure I've looked at the one that I've talked about earlier, which is in Guardamar. I'm sure that's actually bookable through Jet2 as a package. I could be wrong, but from memory they do. But,
Worth checking out.
I might need to look into that then, because that might be a big seller.
Share.
Don't quote me on it. I'm going to check
Yeah.
after.
Jonathan wanted to mention one particular hotel brand, Ilunion Hotels, who he says are accessible for disabled travellers, and they're in all the main centres. We had Ilunion Hotels speak at our diversity forum actually a few months ago. They've got incredible kind of workplace ethos, employing lots and lots of people with disabilities, and very, very accessible hotels. So it's a great tip for anybody who's travelling who does have access requirements. And do you have anything to add, Ben or Paul, in terms of customers who do have accessibility requirements? Is Spain in general decent for that?
I would say yes. Yeah, I would say yes. Sorry, Paul, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Everywhere that you go, there's ramps, there's accessibility options for them. I would say it's far more superior than other destinations in the fact that people are treated equally. And they'll always help, especially in the hotels. For example, my uncle, he went to Gran Canaria. He's got dementia, and the hotel staff just looked after him exceptionally well. He forgot where his room was, for example, but it was no trouble. And they knew him, and it's that, and similar to my cousin, she had MS, and sometimes she's in a wheelchair, and they helped. And I just think with the Spanish culture, they're so warming, inviting that it's never mentioned, and you don't have to worry about accessibility because they're so welcoming with it all. Every hotel that I've been to has always had disabled access, whether that be a lift or a toilet or something.
Because the customers go there in the winter, it's a winter destination. I think the people in Spain are very much akin to the older clientele, generally go for a bit of winter sun. So the Benidorms, the mainland Spain, the Costa del Sols, etc. But increasingly what we're being asked for, I would say every week, is can I hire a mobility scooter locally? So that's a little bit, obviously from a health and safety point of view, we can only assist and guide you and look at what companies are maybe local there. But we did a booking last week and it was based on the fact that we found out it was a scooter hire place 50 yards up the road. So from that point of view, it's shown that how easy it is. But I think that the point there is because the winter sun destination, it's generally, there's a lot of older people that go to Benidorm for travel. More mature guests, should I say. Yeah, no.
I had a presentation from the Benidorm Tourist Board, actually. She was explaining how they've kind of even done away with sort of brick walls and put in glass walls so that people who are in a wheelchair can kind of wheel right up and have the same view that everybody else has, rather than, not being able to see over a wall. Really, really thoughtful stuff. Really impressive. Yeah. We only have 5 minutes left, and I've not talked to you about marketing I'm supposed to do. So you obviously both have huge success selling Spain. Ben, to what extent does Spain kind of form part of what you market destination-wise? And can you share any insight into, how you choose what you're going to promote to your customers? Are you doing deals, or are you doing inspirational images? Just share a little bit about what you feel works for you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, to be honest with you, Pippa, I think it's a little bit of a mix. A lot of my social media, it might be that I'm sat on the beach back home, and I'll be like, on this sunny day, what do you want to do from sort of rainy England sort of thing, and kind of get some inspiration like that. I do a lot of polls. I must admit, Jet2, EasyJet, they've had some amazing offers on, but then I like to tailor make mine as well. I'm not going to lie, I like to kind of make something a bit unique and put it together and do a reel and things like that. I'm not going to lie, it's been a bit difficult over the last month, cost of living crisis. So I am a lot more kind of deal hunting at the moment. But I do find that a lot of my clients that have traveled with me before go, Ben, can you do a unique thing? And sort of do it that way and kind of give a bit of inspiration, you know, even if it's just a bit of information about a place, you know, as Pedro sort of said, people they know the sun and beach, they know the flop and drop, as Paul said, you know, but they don't know kind of you go 50 minutes inland and you've got a whole different country. So I'm very much sort of focusing on that at the moment as well.
And how about you, Paul? What's working for you marketing wise?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, obviously, being a larger company, our head office take care of quite a lot of that and say, no, when you put, no, I'm joking, they do very good, any good ideas need to be put to them and they put forward. But certainly, two things that spring to mind very straight away is just finding that golden nugget, finding that one deal, that
Yeah.
one particular good hotel, for example, that might have a really good price on, and just talking about that to every customer that walks through the door. And again, off the basis of that, a few weeks ago, I did about 20 passengers in 2 or 3 weeks on one hotel that EasyJet were offering a very good deal on last year, which happened to be the Hotel Sirocco in Lanzarote. And the other thing I would probably say is you've got to go and find it. So all the literature, all the things, all the A4 posters, you can find on different companies' websites, but finding the flight, usually when the flight only is not in date range, so i.e. you can book the package holiday, but you can't necessarily book the flight only, is where you probably find a really good deal. And if you get that deal, that's your golden nugget.
Okay, that's great to hear. Thank you. And as we're kind of looking ahead to, you know, turn of season and getting ready for peaks and whatnot, I mean, are you able to kind of plan ahead with your Spain marketing, Ben, or do you really need to wait, you know, be in the moment and be?
I definitely do. Sorry, my dog's barking. I do apologise. But no, I've definitely already got a few sort of 2024 deals going on.
Yeah.
And I do think, especially with Spain and Europe in general, if you book in advance, then, you know, obviously you get the better deals. You know, and I always do a thing for my clients. I'll email the hotel and I'll say, oh, you know, my clients have booked with you. Is there anything we can do? And I can guarantee they'll always have a bottle of sparkling wine and possibly a room at grade. What more do they want? But 2024 is my focus at the moment. You know, let's face it, if we can get some bookings for the summer and stuff like that, then at least I know that my money is guaranteed for that time, sort of thing.
Yes.
And you have to think about the dollars.
Of course, it's business. Paul, you mentioned the cycling group, which was really interesting. Do you think in general that kind of trying to tap into local groups and local sports clubs and things like that can really work for promoting Spain in particular, because it tends to be, you know, quite affordable for a group booking, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, certainly, and the practicalities of getting to the destination, if you just use cycling as an example, you don't always need to take your own bike with you, which can add on costs with bike carriage, etc. The amount of bike shops that you can just hire a bike locally of a very good standard is, you know, all over, whether that's Lanzarote, Tenerife, Gran Canaria, and mainland Spain, all over. So that's easy to do. I mean, that's only the one sport 'cause I'm very passionate and I road cycle myself. But there's other things, even like bowling groups. There's another great example, you know, especially down on the south coast in Costa del Sol, where even some destinations have like bowling weeks, for example, that you can tap into as well. So it's using any sport, really. But certainly cycling is a big passion of mine, and we've been very successful with some local clubs. Yeah.
And how did you do that approach? I guess it helps because you're a cyclist yourself. But if you're
I was
not
on the committee.
a partaker in one of these sports, do you think you could still authentically sell to a group who, you know, do something that you don't do yourself?
Absolutely, there's no problem with that at all. Because if you look, most of them will have something like a social media presence, so a Facebook page,
Yeah.
and tapping into that, just dropping them a message. Look, I'm here for you. I'm a local travel agent. Pick up the phone to me. I see you go on holidays. You know, every cycle group always goes abroad. Guarantee it. So there's a huge opportunity there, and that ranges from £500, £600, £700 per person all the way up. I mean, the one I done last week was worked out at £1,200 per person. That was just a small group of 6, but you know, so there's money to be made with it as well.
Yeah.
It's like the Costa Tropical where I live. It's famous for paddleboarding, surfing, and fishing. And there's so many fiestas. You have, especially during the summer, you have one every weekend. and it's free to go to. You get free paella. You know, it's
Wow.
immersive within the experience, similar to what Paul said, and everyone's passionate about it, even if you don't fish. So, you know, there's so much I think that Spain has to offer.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great tips. Thank you so much. I've already had you for a minute longer than I was supposed to. Thank you
Sorry.
so much, Ben and Paul, for sharing your vast
Welcome.
experience and passion for selling Spain. We've had some brilliant ideas there on how to recommend some slightly different products and some great ways to market Spain as well. So thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you so much to all of the agents that have tuned in to listen to us live, or if you're listening on demand, thank you as well.